I played basketball at Harvard. While I was there, I always saw examples of like our alums that would go on to do just amazing things. As always, my freshman year, I was like, I want to do that. Transition and have basketball just be the beginning of an amazing chapter.
All right, everyone, welcome back to a new season of Sideline Stories. This is season 3, episode 1. Today, I'm joined by Kirby Porter, founder of New Game Labs. How are you doing today, Kirby?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for this.
Thanks for taking the time. Could you just start with a quick introducing yourself?
Yes. So I'm the founder of New Game Labs, and really the mission, vision, goal of the company is to help athletes succeed through content creation. I've always had a passion for helping athletes succeed in general, in business, life after sports, and really kind of came through my journey as an athlete. I played basketball at Harvard. And while I was there, I always saw examples of like our alums that would go on to do just amazing things. And I remember, as always, my freshman year, I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to like make that transition and have basketball just be the beginning of an amazing chapter. And so coming out of college, I started my career in sports marketing at PepsiCo. And during that time is when I started to formulate this idea or this passion. And it came out in this podcast that I started called Court to Corporate, which is all about helping athletes transition into the business world. And so ran that podcast for about 2 years, literally just like makeshift, like kind of doing it on my own, ordering a mic on Amazon and probably recording on Skype at that time. It wasn't anything crazy production wise, but it really helped me build a community and grow my personal brand and help me learn all the skills that I'm applying to building my company today. So from that point, I worked in venture capital for about 1.5 years at a sports VC firm and was still kind of pursuing this passion for athletes and business and content. And then at the top of 2022, I started New Game Lab. 2022. Yes, it's 2023. I started New Game Labs kind of with that mission, but recharged because at that time, the NIL rule changes had just happened. There's a boom of innovation in the creator economy, and I really see content and the creator economy more broadly as a vehicle to kind of push that initial vision that I had forward. So that's what I do today. I have a podcast. I have a membership that goes like further into detail about like the strategies and tactics that athletes can use to build their brands through content creation. And then also excited to partner with different sports organizations on education.
Additionally, I kind of wanted to ask you, how can athletes as creators and the creative economy within sports, how can it create a more equitable playing field for all? Because statistically, the majority of influencers we see across social media are white. But in addition to just representation, what are some ways the sports creator economy is uniquely positioned to strive to building a more equitable society?
That's an important question. I mean, zooming out from sports, a lot of the talking that I've done in the past year is like, how can the creator economy and Web3 support Black creators in general? And like the creator economy more broadly and like the inequalities within it are probably the same within the sports creator economy, and just like who is uplifted, who is not, who's kind of doing the same things, but gets more attention because they are what they are. And again, going back to the point of like acknowledging the unfortunate realities of how some things are. But with that said, I do think that content creation has a really unique opportunity for women's sports and particularly underrepresented players within women's sports to like take matters into their own hands, basically. Like, okay, we might not get all the visibility and we might not get all, just the spotlight from traditional media on us, but you know what? How much does that matter anymore? Because we can cultivate our own audience and our own brand and our own platforms from TikTok, from YouTube, from LinkedIn. Like that's the premise of the creator economy. It's like you don't need the middleman or the endorser to make you cool. You can make yourself cool. And I think that's a really powerful, simple reminder for athletes that are in these positions where they're like overlooked, overshadowed, and not receiving equitable attention. Like, play the game, and like we have to use the tools that are at our disposal to make strides, and then also people on the other side in the industry have to support them and ensure that there are initiatives and like do our part too, in specifically building things for them.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. And then kind of the final two questions as we're wrapping up. First, what's one piece of advice you would give to an athlete who isn't sure where to start on their creative journey? And then kind of like a 1B, like same question, but for a non-athlete, just because I'm sure a lot of people tuning in are also interested, but may not be athletes. But I'd love to kind of hear your answer for both.
Yeah. Okay. One tip for an athlete, I always say like go beyond the jersey. So the whole thing now is like you don't pick a niche, you are the niche. And you don't say I want to be a sports business creator, or I want to be a tech creator, or this or that, whatever. Like, you are the niche, and maybe not so much in like LinkedIn and Twitter and like professional driven platforms, but go on TikTok and like that, or Instagram, and like that's what works well when people show holistically who they are. So if growing your brand is literally just showing who you are, it should relieve a lot of pressure to feel like you need to get expertise and get a team and do all these things. Like, literally show who you are, and that, unedited, raw, unfiltered, kind of messy content works today. And that's a great way for you to get in. And then it's probably going to spark a bunch of other ideas. Like, okay, cool, I got this. I can go do a podcast. I can do a newsletter. I can start an agency. I can do all these things because I have this audience. So just kind of like start where you are, and like embrace kind of how the tides are turning with content today to being more just about being yourself. Like on LinkedIn, like, yes, I literally publish daily about like creator economy. One, because I love it. And two, I think it's so important to get that education out there. But like on Instagram and TikTok, I'm like, I'm going to be myself. Yeah, I'm going to sprinkle in my thought leadership, but I'm also going to show myself going to the gym. I'm also going to show myself going to heat. I'm also going to show myself having fun with my friends, like, or just all these things, the books that I read, like, these are all the things that make me me. And that's what works on these channels. So do that. And then for people that are not athletes, I think, well, maybe like within the world of sports, I think there's such a unique opportunity for those creators to like, still have like, and like create their lane within sports. I think a lot about like basketball content creators, or just like gaming creators, and like these people that like build around kind of like a sport, and like build a persona around a sport. I think that's really fascinating. And you see this crossover between like athletes want to be creators, and then also like creators want to be athletes, like the Logan Paul example. So I think that's an interesting opportunity today for like, yeah, there can be a crossover both ways. So even if you didn't play sports, like, you're welcome to be in the arena.
Absolutely. I think the Logan and Jake Paul, those are good examples of, they started on Vine and now they're big into boxing. They're still creators, but they try to be athletes. And I think that a lot of very insightful, a lot of insight into that answer as well. So at this time, Kirby, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time. The floor is yours. If there's anything else you'd like to add, any shout outs, but also where people can find you to follow along with the journey.
Yes. So I'm Kirby Porter on all channels, basically. And then creators are probably listening to this, so join New Game Labs Pro if that sounds appealing to you. It's our membership where we really go into the how-tos of what it takes to start, grow, monetize a successful brand online as an athlete, or as mentioned, as a sports creator. You're also welcome. So thank you for having me.